Putting on a cape is the biggest gamble in Hollywood. Win, and you're an icon. Lose, and you're a punchline for a decade. It's the highest stakes move an actor can make. We track these wins and losses every day, and if you want the inside scoop on which careers are soaring and which are crashing, do yourself a favor and subscribe to the Star Report. Now, let's talk about the actors who cashed in, the ones who went bust, and the ones who turned into real-life supervillains. The bar for Batman. By the early 2000s, the Batman movie franchise was a joke, a literal punchline. After the neon-drenched, bat-nipple disaster of Joel Schumacher's run, the character was dead in the water. To bring it back, Christopher Nolan needed an actor who radiated a terrifying, obsessive seriousness. He found Christian Bale. Bale didn't just play Batman. He played three distinct roles: the hollow, grinning playboy mask of Bruce Wayne, the rage-fueled, guttural detective that is Batman, and, most importantly, the real Bruce, the traumatized, angry, and broken man underneath. He dragged the cape into the grit and made audiences believe a man would, and could, do this.
Underneath. But what I do, that defines me.
He wasn't just a guy in a suit. He was a man shouldering an impossible burden. While Heath Ledger's Joker understandably stole the show in The Dark Knight, it was Bale's grounded performance that gave the film its backbone. He set a new standard for what a serious comic book movie could be, and to this day, every new actor who dons the cowl is immediately, and often unfavorably, compared to him. The Jester. But for every actor who defines a role, there's one who gets swallowed by the shadow of their predecessor, and there is no shadow darker than the one cast by Heath Ledger's Joker. When Jared Leto was cast as the new clown prince of crime for Suicide Squad, the pressure was already astronomical. His response was to go full method, or at least a very public, cringy version of it. The press was flooded with stories of him sending dead rats and used bullets to his co-stars. It all felt less like an artist's process and more like a desperate PR campaign to prove how damaged he was.
Would you live for me?
Yes.
Careful.
Then the movie came out. After all that hype, his Joker was a Hot Topic manager. Covered in damaged tattoos, sporting a grill, and doing a weird, throaty growl. He was all style and zero substance. He wasn't the Joker, he was a joke. The final insult was that, after all his method acting stunts, he was barely in the movie, with most of his performance left on the cutting room floor. The foundation. But sometimes, a risky actor is exactly what a franchise needs. When Marvel Studios decided to make Iron Man in 2008, they were not the Disney-owned behemoth they are today. They were betting the entire company on a B-list character. And their chosen star, Robert Downey Jr., wasn't just a gamble. He was considered uninsurable. His career had been completely derailed by personal struggles and run-ins with the law. Executives wanted safer choices, but director Jon Favreau fought for him, arguing that Downey's real-life story of redemption mirrored Tony Stark too perfectly.
This is exactly who I should be up here with. The man who literally started it all, who had the faith in me, and this connection we had.
From the opening minutes of the film, it was clear they had struck gold. Downey wasn't playing Tony Stark. He was Tony Stark. He had the sharp humor, the quick arrogance, and the undercurrent of vulnerability that the character demanded. He made a flawed billionaire likable. Over the next decade, he became the anchor of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. His finale in Endgame wasn't just a character's death. It was the emotional payoff for a cultural phenomenon he had spent 11 years building. The Flashpoint. Robert Downey Jr. became the beloved face of Marvel. When the studio prepared to position Brie Larson as the new face of the franchise, they expected a similar reception. They did not get it. The hype for Captain Marvel was huge, as it was the studio's first female-led film. But from the first trailers, a vocal segment of the internet decided they had a problem. The criticism was that her delivery seemed stiff and detached, but the backlash quickly spiraled beyond her performance. During press tours, Larson made comments about wanting more diversity in film criticism, which, while a valid point, were twisted and amplified by online outrage mobs. She became a flashpoint in a culture war. The film was review-bombed before it even came out. For some, she was a symbol of progress. For others, she was dismissive and confrontational. Even with central roles in Endgame and her own sequel, she has remained one of the most divisive and debated figures in the entire MCU, a sign of how quickly a fan base can be polarized. The mutants who broke the mold. Sometimes, the initial fan reaction is just dead wrong. When Hugh Jackman was first cast as Wolverine in 2000's X-Men, fans were skeptical. In the comics, Wolverine is short, stocky, and gruff. Jackman was a tall, polished, unknown musical theater actor from Australia. The disconnect was obvious, but the moment he appeared on screen, all doubts faded. Jackman brought a raw, animalistic intensity to the role, balanced with just enough vulnerability to make him human. He became the face of the entire X-Men franchise, the one constant through reboots, prequels, and spin-offs. He played Wolverine for 17 years, a record-setting run. His final chapter, Logan, elevated his legacy. It was a brutal, emotional, Oscar-nominated film that was praised not as a great superhero movie, but as a great movie, period. He didn't just play Wolverine. For a generation, he is Wolverine.
Take your friends and run. They'll keep coming and coming. Yes, you don't have to fight anymore.
But Jackman's franchise also gave us one of the worst superhero portrayals ever, only for it to be saved by the actor himself. Ryan Reynolds first played Wade Wilson in X-Men Origins, Wolverine. It was a disaster. The studio stripped the merc with a mouth of his humor, his costume, and, literally, his mouth. They sewed it shut. Reynolds knew it was a betrayal. He spent the next decade fighting to get a real Deadpool movie made. Studios kept rejecting it, terrified of an-rated superhero comedy. Finally, in 2014, test footage leaked online. The fan response was so overwhelmingly positive that the studio was forced to greenlight it.
I'm touching myself tonight.
The 2016 film was everything fans wanted. Reynolds' nonstop sarcasm and meta-humor were a perfect match. He wasn't just playing Deadpool, he saved him. It's the clearest example of an actor being so inseparable from a role that they can resurrect it from the dead. What were they thinking? Not every miscasting gets a happy ending. By the time Spider-Man 3 went into production, fans were desperate to see Venom on the big screen. They imagined a dark, brutal, physically imposing monster. What they got was Topher Grace. Grace was best known as the sarcastic, skinny kid from That 70 Seconds Show. The physical disconnect was jarring. In the comics, Venom is a hulking beast. On screen, he was Eric Foreman in a goose suit. To make matters worse, the movie was already overstuffed with villains, and director Sam Raimi was reportedly pressured by the studio to include Venom against his wishes. Grace's performance wasn't menacing, it was whiny. His Venom became a joke, a poster child for wasted potential and studio meddling. But if Topher Grace was the wrong physical fit, Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor was the wrong everything. When Zack Snyder cast Eisenberg in Batman v Superman, the reaction was immediate confusion. Lex Luthor is supposed to be Superman's greatest rival, calm, ruthless, commanding, and physically imposing. Eisenberg is known for playing twitchy, awkward, fast-talking characters. When the film came out, the doubts were confirmed. Instead of a cold, calculating businessman, Eisenberg played Lex like an eccentric, unhinged tech billionaire, full of nervous tics and erratic speeches. His performance clashed horribly with the film's dark, serious tone. He never felt threatening, just annoying. It's remembered as one of the most bizarre and ineffective miscastings in modern superhero history. When heroes fumble, sometimes a casting choice starts out great and then just fumbles. Gal Gadot's debut as Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman was a surprise highlight. Her 2017 solo film was a massive critical and commercial success, celebrated as a bright spot in the otherwise grim DCEU. For a moment, she was a beloved symbol of empowerment, but the shine wore off. As sequels and crossovers came out, criticism of her acting grew louder. Viewers pointed to her limited range and wooden line delivery. What was once seen as stoic started to feel stiff. Then came Wonder Woman, 1984, a film that was widely panned. The backlash was sealed by her infamous Imagine sing-along video during the 2020 pandemic. It was meant to be inspiring, but came across as painfully out of touch. She became a meme, and her performance as Wonder Woman is now often remembered more for the online ridicule than for its initial success. But if Gadot's issues were on-screen, Ezra Miller's were an off-screen catastrophe. Miller was cast as The Flash, Barry Allen, and their quirky energy in Justice League was divisive but had potential. The solo Flash movie was meant to be their breakout moment and reset the entire DC universe. Instead, the years leading up to the film's release were a public relations nightmare. Miller was the embodiment of crashing out. He got arrested multiple times, was accused of many violent outbursts, and became the subject of a string of troubling headlines.
Has pleaded guilty after being accused of breaking into a Vermont home and stealing alcohol last year. The Justice League star agreed to a $500 fine.
By the time the film finally limped into theaters in 2023, audiences were completely soured. The movie underperformed badly. Instead of defining a new era, Miller's Flash is now associated with controversy and failure, a cautionary tale of how personal behavior can sink an entire blockbuster. The Men Who Are Spider-Man. But there is one role that is so iconic. Two different actors are both considered the perfect fit. When Sam Raimi cast Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker in 2002, it was a weird choice. Maguire was a quiet, understated actor known for dramas, not an action star, but it was perfect. He captured the essential, awkward vulnerability of Peter Parker. He was the kid who got picked on, the one who struggled with the weight of responsibility.
I have a father. His name was Ben Parker.
He made audiences believe in the human side of the hero. Even after the infamous emo dance in Spider-Man 3, the love for his version remained. For a generation, he was, and always would be, Spider-Man. So when Marvel had to cast the character again for the MCU, the risk was enormous. They had to introduce a third Spider-Man to an audience tired of reboots. But Tom Holland's debut in Captain America: Civil War immediately changed the conversation.
What? What are you doing? Hey, I'm Peter.
Tony.
What are you doing here?
It's about time we met. You been getting my emails, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Holland captured the one thing the others hadn't: his youth. He actually felt like a high school kid, full of nervous energy and wide-eyed wonder. His relationship with Tony Stark became the emotional core of the Infinity Saga. His performance in Spider-Man: No Way Home, where he had to make the ultimate sacrifice, cemented his status. Seeing him share the screen with Maguire wasn't a competition, it was a celebration. It proved that both actors, in their own way, had earned the right to be Peter Parker. In the end, the suit doesn't make the hero. It's the actor, the performance, and the audience's willingness to believe that turns a bit of spandex into a legend. So, who's your favorite superhero actor? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the Star Report for more hot celebrity tea.